Hey guys, this is Brian back for another review. First of all, sorry I haven't made a review in a long time, guys. Mostly due to the audio issues. I will probably be redoing the last 3 reviews that I did just because of the audio issues. And I also I'm planning to have a schedule now. So I decided every Sunday to do a video. So starting from today, this has been recorded on Sunday. I don't know when I'll upload it, but today, Sunday, I will do a video, and next Sunday you guys can expect another video from me being another album review. Now I'm gonna be working on the schedule for a while, and if it works, I will, and I feel comfortable with it, I will probably add more days to that. But as of right now, only Sundays I will be doing reviews. And now I'm going to be reviewing an album that's not even out yet. It comes out on the 10th, and it is Municipal Waste, The Fatal Feast. Now, Municipal Waste, it's to us. I live in the Maryland, D.C. area. They're kind of like a local band, Maryland, D.C., and Virginia are kind of like, since we're close together, we kind of treat it kind of like it's like the same area. So this is kind of one of our local bands that actually made it big. Municipal Waste coming out of Virginia. This is their 5th album, I believe. So it's either their 4th or their 5th. But yeah, it's good to see one of the local bands that really got, right now they're pretty big. So it's really good to see that. Now the Fatal Feast comes out on the 10th, which from the day I'm recording this is 2 days away, and it's their first album being released on Nuclear Blast. If you remember, Massive Aggressive was released on Earache Records. Now, I don't know what happened, but they suddenly moved over to to Nuclear Blast, and this album was distributed by Nuclear Blast USA, which is completely different apparently to the one in Europe. The Overkill, I don't know what happens, but they release their albums through Nuclear Blast Europe, and then when they come to the US, they release it through a different company. I don't know why, and I don't know how, but at least we're getting the album, So this is their longest album, as in track-wise and length-wise, and that's not saying a lot though. Track-wise, it's 17 tracks. I'm not sure if it's 17 or 16. I got a jewel case, and apparently I have the digipack, and apparently it says I have a bonus track. Now, if the jewel case only has 16 tracks, I'm not sure yet. So, as of right now, this review, 17 tracks. And it runs around 39 minutes long. So, that's their longest. To most bands, that's really short. And that's one of the things I love about Municipal Waste, that you can get through albums like that. Just from me going from home to work, I could put in Massive Aggressive and listen to the whole thing while I get to work, and that's only a 20-minute drive. Massive Aggressive was only 25 minutes, I believe. This is stepping up 39 minutes, but 17 tracks of good solid crossover thrash. Now, what happened with this album was that the group felt that they needed to take off a year off break of Massive Aggressive. After they released Massive Aggressive, they basically took some time off, and they decided to write this album. And they say they wrote a lot of tracks, and they had a lot of tracks coming from this album, but out of all of those tracks, only 17 made the album. So I don't know, I think they could put more in, have a 50-minute album or whatever, but that would get too redundant, I think. So they basically took a year off, picked a space theme, and decided to write an album about that. Now, it's not a concept album. There is plenty of other songs about different topics. It's just The Fatal Feast and other tracks on this album focus around space. The album starts out with Waste in Space, which is just an opener. And it's not instrumental or anything. It's just an opener. I think it's something about people getting into like spaceships and stuff like that. Those kind of sounds, and then it kicks off with Repossession, which is an amazing opening riff. Ryan stepped up his game definitely on this album. Now, Ryan before in Massive Aggressive and The Art of Partying and Waste and all of the other albums they did, he was mainly a rhythm player. Now, he did little work with lead as he could. The Art of Partying, he only did, I think, Peer Pressure, he did like a short lead. Now in this album, he does some lead, but it's not like virtuosic lead. It's just short and sweet, like most of the Municipal Waste songs. So you're gonna hear some solos, but they're not gonna blow your mind. They're just be like, oh, there's a solo now. But anyway, Waste in Space, it's a perfect opener for the album. It gets the feeling right. You can see to the feeling, like you're looking at the album cover and you're hearing the space, you're hearing Waste in Space and you're like, oh, okay, it sets the mood in right. Which honestly is missing on a lot of albums lately. Repossession kicks in, killer thrash riff, I could see this being a great live opening kind of thing, like before the band goes on, they put like Waste in Space, and then when Waste in Space kicks in, the lights kick in and they start playing Repossession. That would be badass. Yeah, I think I'm not too quite sure on this, but I hear other voices other than Tony singing on this album, and I personally believe it's Ryan singing on this album. On New Dead Masters, you're gonna hear like a different voice than Tony, and you're like, wow. I think it's actually Ryan singing. So Ryan has done like the biggest changes out of this album just comes from Ryan. Because this album is solid Municipal Waste, you're gonna hear the thrash crossover things you are used to hearing on Municipal Waste. It's not along The Art of Parting is actually more. It sounds more like Massive Aggressive, and if you love that album, you're gonna love this album. So it's more to that, but the biggest changes is mainly comes from Ryan. Ryan does the includes more guitar solos in more of the tracks, and he starts singing more. He takes over the mic at some songs, not just from like some choruses, but usually for like a good part of the song. Now, he also has this great, amazing riffs, and one of the things I love about Municipal Waste is that they have that great thrashy riffs, like the fast ones, the really fast ones that get you like trying to mosh and everything. But they also have the slow ones, like the ones that are kind of they're for a thrash band. They're really slow, but they're still like extremely hard. Like they hit you really hard, and I love this kind of thing. Like, that's like just gets you pumped up, and they have a lot of that. Ryan, the riffs he writes, amazing. Even though Landfill is the main songwriter in the album, but that I love the track. New Dead Masters, Idiot Checked, Covered in Sick. The only track I really didn't enjoy that much, it was You're Cut Off. Now, it was released early, and I didn't enjoy it, and I didn't enjoy it now. I still listened to the album a couple of times. But it's easily forgettable because it's like a minute long, so it doesn't really matter. This is what I love about one of this sort of bands, that when you have songs, your longest song is 4 minutes long, and everything else averages out at 2 minutes. You can't really have filler. It's just because it just goes by like that. So out of that, yeah, even the Fatal Feast, which at the beginning when they released that song, a lot of people digged it. But when it comes, it's kind of like the Iron Maiden thing with the El Dorado, where when you hear El Dorado by itself, everybody was like kind of like optimistic about the album. But when you listen to it with the album, like going from front to back, you can really like the track sounds better for some reason, and that's what the Fatal Feast is. It's like it starts with a thrashing riff of Jesus Freaks, and then it kicked into the Fatal Feast, and then it's like slow but so heavy, you know, like that intro, and so catchy. Another thing, Landfill is an amazing bass player. Uh, he had some great bass lines in The Art of Partying and Massive Aggressive, but here it's so good. Some of his bass lines are just like wow. Especially like in the Fatal Feast when it gets to like the middle of the song where everything's breaking down. You hear like Ryan just play like one riff, and then you hear on the background just Landfill just playing that intricate bass line now. It's so great. Anyway, Massive Aggressive, the Fatal Feast. If you're a Municipal Waste fan, you're definitely getting this. Because Municipal Waste is one of those bands like Motorhead and AC/DC that they're not gonna change their style. If they change their style, then they're not Municipal Waste. So there's nothing changed in here. There's no like super over progressive thing that they pull out of nowhere. It's just straight crossover thrash, and it's great too. One last thing, Residential Disaster. It's like a 4-minute song, and I pointed that out in my Anthrax review. I hate when bands, when they finish a song, they have like a minute of silence, and that's exactly what they do here in Residential Disaster. It's a minute of silence. I hate that. But at least it's a minute. It's not like blown out of proportion like 6 or 7 minutes like Anthrax did. But anyway, yeah, you could just press forward and go back to the beginning of the album. Anyway, I give this album an 8 out of 10. It's a great, solid album, and if you love Massive Aggressive, you're gonna enjoy this album a hell lot of. So if you're trying to get to like Municipal Waste, yeah, you could definitely pick this up and actually start get into the band. So glad, hope you guys enjoyed my review, and see you next time.